If there's a word to describe budget carriers, I think it would be quirky. Everything they do is slightly different. Everything from the booking process to the in-flight experience, and it's all part of the low-cost carrier world. Today we're going to check out Tway Air and see how they operate regional flights in Asia. With so many options out there, should you consider them for your next trip? Jump on board and let's find out. Good morning and welcome back to another video, and welcome back once again to Narita Airport Terminal 2. You know, out of all the years I've been flying out of this airport, this will be the first time flying out of this terminal. We'll be flying with Tway Air, a budget carrier based out of Korea. We flew them a couple years ago on a domestic flight, and today is going to give us a chance to see what we can expect on an international regional itinerary. The flight is set to depart at 2:35, so come along as you go from A to B. Let's start by checking in, checking out the observation deck, you know the drill, and let's make our way to Seoul. Terminal 2 at Narita Airport has been around since 1992. With the low ceilings and tired and dated interior, the building is showing its age, and it's hard to imagine that this terminal is newer than Terminal 1, which of course has been renovated over the years. At least the Christmas tree brings some excitement and color to the building this time of year. The terminal is mainly occupied by Japan Airlines, other oneworld carriers, and a selection of budget airlines. Tway's check-in can be found at the D counters, a missed opportunity to place them at T. Check-in opens 2.5 hours prior to departure. With no kiosks and online check-in unavailable, I obediently took my place in a line which was already forming. Once at the counter, surprisingly, I was asked if I was willing to sit at the emergency exit. And a new one for me is to sign a paper prior to seat allocation. Overall, I found the check-in slow, not as quick obviously as a kiosk, but I would recommend to get in line prior to the line opening. Doing this in a tired terminal, it kind of felt like a step back in time, to be honest. With one less bag in hand, it's time to check out the observation deck. Following the signs, I was led to this uninviting door with one of those alarm mechanisms on the door handle, and I had to double and triple check that this was the right door. Even the sign on the wall really didn't sell it. It was a quiet lull in the afternoon, and not too much was going on outside, and with it being rather moist, I didn't really hang around more than a few moments. A renewal is currently underway on the observation decks of Terminal 1, and by the looks of it, this deck wouldn't mind a little facelift as well. Gate side of Terminal 2 is best described as the letter I, with the center stem appearing as a kind of dead space. The awkwardness made sense afterwards once I found out that a shuttle system, legally a horizontal elevator, whisked passengers between the main and satellite building. Its time ended in 2013 and was replaced with this walkway, essentially creating just one large building. Like Streetside, the terminal continues to show its age, though I do appreciate the effort of adding some comfort for passengers. In any event, we're departing from Gate 97, and there's our 737 tucked behind the jet bridges back there. With a bit of time to spare, I thought I would grab a quick nibble, and it turned out to be a good idea. Skipping the tourist-priced food court, I settled on Yoshinoya. A beef bowl, udon, will do just fine. Back at the gate, boarding got underway on time, and we were able to get a much better view of the plane. As we walk down, I'll take this moment to welcome new viewers to the channel, and I invite you to subscribe for continued travel and aviation related content, where you can check out and compare this flight with Air Seoul, another budget carrier to consider if you're flying to or from Korea. Today we'll be seated in 17F, the front emergency row over the wings with a well-weathered window, so we'll see how much the camera's going to like it this trip. We're on one of Tway's Boeing 737-800 aircraft. Currently they have 26 in their fleet, with a single layout with 189 seats with 3 lavatories on board. Our aircraft is 17 years old, spending all of its time in the low-cost carrier world. It first flew with Ryanair over in Europe until 2015, before coming over to Korea in December of that year. We'll have a flight time of 2 hours and 23 minutes to reach Seoul this afternoon. The cabin is simple, with gray seats in your standard 3-3 seating configuration in a plain, non-designed interior. Seats with red antimacassars denote premium seats, such as the emergency exit row. Maybe airlines should avoid calling emergency exit rows premium. Although you do get more legroom, you also can't store items on the floor, so really it's more of a trade-off than a higher product. Let me know what you think. Regardless, seat pitch is advertised as 29 to 30 inches, and you'll get a little bit more in these premium rows. Seatback is what you expect for a budget carrier. A table, a pocket, and that's about it. There are no power outlets, nor a streaming IFE system, nor Wi-Fi, so having your own media is definitely beneficial, especially for longer flights on the 737. The seat pocket contains T-Shop, their in-flight service menu, the safety card, duty-free catalog, and the sign indicating extra payment is needed for these seats. I really don't know why that sign is necessary. And then there's the National Geographic / in-flight magazine, one of those dual publication type of deal. And above you have access to the reading light and air control. Overall, the hard product is nothing special, but I found it in line with other Korean budget carriers we flew. Tway's menu offers everything from drinks to snacks to cup noodles and small meals. One thing that I felt weird was how they conducted their service, and it was simply too fast. Before I was done browsing the menu, they were already past me. It appeared that the service was something to do so they can quickly check it off a list, and this speedy service is something we're going to see more of on the next flight. That thoroughness, checking if passengers want anything, that budget carriers are known for. They want to make the extra sale, right? Simply didn't exist. I think you can use the call button afterwards, but one issue with this particular plane was that the PA system was unusually quiet, and with the sound of the engines, I couldn't hear what was said. For some context, this is what the PA system sounded like. Oh well, maybe next time. My table was a bit dirty, so probably better I didn't use it anyway. A quick look online indicates that pre-ordering is available, and this is what they offer on this route. But unfortunately, I didn't have an option. I dug a little deeper into this, and if I were to select this flight alone, the pre-purchase meal options appeared on the screen after seat selection. For my itinerary, which had an onward long-haul flight, that buy on board option didn't show in the booking process. Weird. And here's a look at one of the rear lavatories. Definitely with the repairs on the sink, the age is notable, but other than that, it was clean and everything worked as expected. When it comes to purchasing, the website can be uncooperative at times. I originally was looking to fly them earlier this year from Sydney. Remember, we did Jetstar instead. However, after selecting the flight, they will email you a confirmation number to continue the booking, and the emails never had it. I tried different email addresses, browsers, and nothing seemed to work. Luckily, the bug appears to have been fixed. Once you're past that, you can put in your information and then select your seat. Like I mentioned a moment ago, I didn't have the option to pre-book a meal for this flight, but it would show after the seat selection. Overall, I wasn't too pleased with Tway. Everything from the clunky website, slower check-in, the service, the dirty table, and so forth, just wasn't my cup of tea. With the large amount of other budget carriers flying this route, you'd be able to find an airline which streamlines things better, making your flying day easier while providing an overall better experience. I think the airline needs to increase refinement in their product and service, and this will serve them well, and I may check back on them on their regional routes in a year or two. That being said, they did get us safely to our destination and on time, and that's definitely worth something. The price of this one-way itinerary from Tokyo to Vancouver via Seoul came out to 58,251 yen. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts on Tway's regional flight, and I'll catch you in the next video.